Qualifying positions you're seeing on screen. Race 1 continued. 6th was Xavier Boug, 7th Valentin Tellier, 8th was Davide Guarneri, 9th was Stephen Sword ahead of his teammate Jake Nichols. 10th, 11th was Pascal Leray, 12th was Cedric Soubeyrat, 13th Mathis Carreau, 14th Loic Lariot, and 15th was Evgeny Bobryshev. Sean Simpson dropped down the order to 16th in the closing stages, carrying a shoulder injury this weekend. 17th Arnold Tonu, 18th Yohei Kojima, 19th Nikolai Larsson, and 20th was Wyatt Avis. The 15-second board is up, and any moment now it will turn to 5, and the second MX2 race will get underway here. Zach Osborne closest your screen, alongside him number 21 Gauthier Paulin. They two of them come out side by side, and you can see the Yamaha of 335. Oh, and looked like Paulin got stood up going into turn 1 and comes off worse as Osborne, number 338. Oh, he's almost up the side of the bike. That's exactly what happened with Sean Simpson yesterday. He stayed up in the qualifying heat, but 5 French riders went down, including Mxgp, Aubin and Xavier Boug, and well, no one came off that time around. So fortunately, that sideways moment there from Zach Osborne, and he went into turn 2, managed to keep it on 2 wheels and in the lead, more importantly for him. Sean Simpson, a brave ride from him certainly in the early stages of this race. Second at the moment, Marvin Mxgp, in third, number 25 on that Honda in the black clothing. Fourth behind him looks like Manuel Moni, number 13. Then it looks like Marcus Schiffer on the Sarholz KTM, number 27. Stephen Sword up there as well in 6th position, riding number 7 on the Red Bull KTM UK machine. But Zach Osborne on that UTAG Yamaha out in front at the moment, on board with Davide Guarneri on the Monster Energy Ritchie Racing Yamaha, and you can see just ahead of him is Marcus Schiffer, number 27 in the white there, and on the right of him even, there's 56, Evgeny Bobryshev on the Van Beers Yamaha, and he is down in 8th, so a good start for Bobryshev this time around. Under the Red Bull bridge they go. Osborne leads Sean Simpson, so American leading a Scot. Yamaha leading KTM under the Tekka bridge over the rhythm section here. And in 3rd position, Mxgp, just seeming to lose out, or is he? No, he's still hanging on in there in 3rd on that red Honda. 4th is Manuel Moni on the 3C Racing Yamaha. Then in 5th place, we're just looking, is that still Schiffer? Yes, it is, in the blue clothing on the orange KTM. Then in 6th place, it looks like, well, it looked like a Kawasaki rider to me, but and it is. It's the 183 of Stephen Frossard. So Frossard up from 13th through the first checkpoint on the finish line as they got this race underway. On board with Davide Guarneri, and he is following Yohei Kojima on the Tekka Europe Suzuki, riding number 44. Jumps alongside him now, though. He might have the advantage going through this Hyundai left turn and off that drop-off. Mathis Carreau, that looks like ahead of him. Also on the number 91 Suzuki, the Motor Vision Racing Suzuki, as Osborne completes his first lap here in the second MX2 Moto of the Turkish Grand Prix. Round 3 of the MX2 World Motocross Championship. Osborne leads from Sean Simpson, Marvin Mxgp 3rd, Marcus Schiffer 4th on the Sarholz KTM, 5th is Manuel Moni. Here we are on board, and oh, that's Gauthier Paulin got squeezed there by Osborne and also by our cameraman of Davide Guarneri. No wonder he got stood up going into turn 1, and as we look down the list, Gauthier Paulin at the end of lap 1 down in 19th position. Well, the championship positions going into round 1, remember, Gauthier Paulin on 94 points. Second behind him on 81 is the Honda of Marvin Mxgp, 13 points further adrift than Davide Guarneri, just 18 points further back. But at the moment, Gauthier Paulin having to work extremely hard to fight back through the traffic in this one. No question about that. And at the moment, he's still down there in 19th place. Osborne opening up a bit of a lead over Sean Simpson on that number 4 factory Red Bull KTM. The sun coming out here for the first time today. Ooh, and Simpson makes a mistake, runs wide, and that's a written invitation that doesn't need a self-addressed envelope from Marvin Mxgp, because Mxgp now goes up into 2nd position on the NGS, the Nouvelle Generation Sport Honda, and he will now set about a clear track, roost free, to close down the American 338 Zach Osborne on the UTAG Yamaha. Here we see again Simpson just gets a bobble going in. He tried to correct it, but he was already offline, and he couldn't get across because you see how high that berm is on the inside of him. And Marvin Muscan, the Frenchman, winner of the Bulgarian Grand Prix just 1 week ago, well, he finds himself in second position. Simpson, number 4, dropping to third. Markus Schiffer, the German, on the Saarholz KTM. He's there in fourth. And Stephen Frossard just behind him on the CLS Kawasaki in fifth. Under the Red Bull Bridge they go to complete lap 2 here in the second MX2 race of the day. Stephen Sword still there in 6th on the Red Bull UK KTM machine. Arnold Tonu on the HDI KTM in 7th. Evgeny Bobryshev on the Van Beers Yamaha down in 8th. 9th is Matisse Carreau on the MVRD Suzuki. 10th, Davide Guarneri, our onboard camera. 11th is Xavier Boug on the Tekka Europe Suzuki. 12th is Manuel Moni. So Moni dropping down the order on that 3C Yamaha. 13th is Wyatt Davis on the SRS Honda. 14th, Yohei Kojima on the Tekka Europe Suzuki. 15th is Kunsith von Sana, as Davide Guarneri still tries to close down the gap between himself and number 91, Matisse Carreau, the former FIM Junior 125 World Champion last year riding a Suzuki. Back then riding Burstfoon, but at the end of the year picked up a deal with MVRD, with Mark Chamberlain and the boys, and based out of the UK now, competing in the British Championship. Osborne's gone through. So too has Marvin Muscan. Sean Simpson, number 4, front rider in your shot there. Coming under pressure now from the 183 of Stephen Frossard. Frossard having a moment. Just 2 corners past the pit lane. In fact, the corner that rejoins the circuit, he went through the Hyundai banners and off the edge of that bank, and well, he didn't finish the race. So DNF in race 1 for Stephen Frossard, looking to make amends for it in race 2. Just like, well, it's deja vu all over again for him, because that's exactly what happened in race 1 and 2 last weekend. He was up there in the points and looks over his shoulder the wrong way, and Schiffer comes around the outside and tries to put the squeeze on him, but he's got absolutely nowhere to go, has Schiffer, the German. So Frossard now demotes the German on the Saarholz KTM, number 27 on that orange bike in the blue clothing on the extreme left of your screen there. Sean Simpson just ahead of the Frenchman. Frossard on the CLS Kawasaki, the middle rider on your screen. And this is the battle for 3rd place. There you see Stephen Sword. He's just behind Schiffer as they go under the Red Bull Bridge. So it's Osborne leads from Marvin Muscan, 3.4 seconds that gap, with 28 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Simpson still hanging on in 3rd. That's that man there on the orange KTM. 4th behind him on the green Kawasaki, 183, is Stephen Frossard. Then 5th, it's 27, Markus Schiffer. 6th, number 7, Stephen Sword, and he's right off the back of that. And Stephen Sword, coming into this round of the World Championship, was way down in the championship list. In fact, he was down in about 25th position, something like that. But Stephen Sword, even though he scored a handful of points with 9th in race 1, Stephen Sword, as Frossard goes through, really Sean Simpson not really able to challenge Frossard there. But Sean Simpson, Stephen Sword, picked up 7 positions now, is in 21st position. So if he keeps this up in this race, he will certainly move inside the top 20 and maybe even get his World Championship campaign off to a start here this weekend. 2 leaders have gone through. There's 3rd place on your screen now, 183 on the green Kawasaki. Stephen Frossard. Sean Simpson, he's there in 4th. Finished 4th in the World Championship finished 4th in the championship last year. And then just behind him, Schiffer, the German. Simpson takes a look over his shoulder, see who it is. Schiffer on the Saarholz KTM is going to square off Simpson coming along pit straight. There's Guarneri. Guarneri got Bobryshev just ahead of him now, so he's gone past Matisse Carreau on that Suzuki. And Schiffer, easy pickings there for him as Sean Simpson. You can see he's riding with a shoulder injury. Picked that up riding in Holland midweek prior to this race. He had a collision with an intermediate level rider. It was open day, and he was there just getting in a few laps, and the two collided on a takeoff on a jump, and he crashed heavily, and he's got some kind of ligament damage in there. Hopefully he'll be in here for the second of the MX1 races, and he can tell us a little bit more about it. But at the moment, Sean Simpson just starting to head towards the lower end of the top 10 here. He's 5th at the moment, But coming out of City Curve, it's Osborne from Mxgp, Frossard and Schiffer, that man in screen, in 4th. Simpson's 5th. Stephen Sword is 6th.
Sean's actually dropping down in position at the moment. Is that because of his injuries at the beginning of the week?
Yeah, we are struggling a bit at the moment because some of our riders are injured, and also Sean, he crashed already before Faenza and hurt his shoulder. Then we thought we can survive pretty good, but last week he crashed again on the same shoulder, and he's riding with a lot of pain all the 2 weeks already. So we are happy if we survive today with a little break before Valkenswaard, and hopefully all our riders are healthy by that time again.
Thank you.
Well, Lisa Leyland posing the question there to one of the team manager KTM's racing outfit, Pit Byra. The other, of course, being Stefan Everts, who will be out on circuit with the headsets on as Guarneri comes through the wave section under the Tecker Bridge into that right-hander, working his way back towards pit lane area. There is Guarneri on that Monster Energy Ritchie Yamaha. 9th position at the moment. He was 3rd in the championship before he came here. He's still 3rd at the moment in the series, but he's lost a bit of a gap. Lost a bit of time between himself, Mxgp, and himself going into this race, the second race of the day. But he's still 3rd in the championship at the moment, but he was only 3 points ahead of Xavier Boug. Xavier Boug is a little bit further behind him in this race, 11th to be exact, as we look at some onboard action here. Oh, and that's Bobryshev going down. So Evgeny Bobryshev handing a position there to Guarneri. So Guarneri will now move up into 8th place. Frossard on the CLS Kawasaki comes over the line in 3rd. Schiffer right behind him in 4th. Oh, just a little bit further back to be precise. Through the City Curve, Stephen Frossard in 3rd. Osborne still leads, 2.7 seconds the gap between himself and Marvin Mxgp on the NGS Honda. 3rd is that man there, Frossard. 4th is Marcus Schiffer. 5th is Simpson. 6th, Stephen Sword. Just well, about a second between those two at the moment. Lapping like for like lap times, 2:07s, a pair of them. There's Schiffer. Simpson, we just saw, still hanging on ahead of Stephen Sword. Guarneri taking a nice tight line there as he chases down Arnold Tonu, number 23 on the HDI KTM, winner of the first heat race of the year for qualification in Faenza. And you can see now the Italian Guarneri closing down on the HDI KTM of the Swiss rider. Osborne picking his way through that rhythm section. 2.7 the gap last time around. Be interesting to see what it is as he crosses the line through that tight left-hander. There are 2 defined lines there now. There was only really 1 line there yesterday. That inside was an off-cambered high left line falling away to the right, and the riders just favouring just the outside line, but there are definitely 2 lines there now. So that's helping the riders out. We saw already Sean Simpson make a mistake there earlier on, lap 2 or lap 3, and that allowed the NGS Honda of number 25, Marvin Mxgp, that man on screen, up into 2nd position. Big leap from Mxgp. Had to work hard for his points in race 1. And Mxgp picking up 5th in race 1, but he was down outside the top 20 as they went over the finish line, 25th to be precise. But he battled hard and was able to salvage something from it, unlike his heat race yesterday, where he went down in turn 2 with a handful of French riders and struggled really to get anywhere and make any kind of impression. And we were thinking, oh, maybe this weekend the Frenchman Mxgp will struggle. But a good start second time around was exactly what he needed. And here he is now in 2nd position, trying to close down. Well, he's closed down to the tune of about 3/10 on Zach Osborne. But it's not really harassing the American at the moment, originally from Virginia, now living in the UK. Lives with Mel Pocock in the south of England. Mel Pocock of the UTAG Yamaha squad, not here this weekend. Hopefully we'll see him back in action at Valkenswaard in a couple of weekends' time, which is the next GP. Most of these riders will have a weekend off between this race and the next GP. Gauthier Paulin, number 21 on the Bud Racing Kawasaki. He's trying to find a way past, is that 64 or 69? looks like the 69 of White Avis, the South African, on the SRS, and that was the other SRS rider 2 positions behind Gauthier Paulan, who finished second in race 1, Kunsit Fonsana. So there we see Matisse Caro, number 91. Then it's Evgeny, is it Bobryshev then? Is he still up? Yes, he's up and running. So 56 goes through, Bobryshev. Then we've got the Xavier Boug, Teka Europe, Suzuki. Then it's the, just looking to the left there, looks like White Avis and Gauthier Paulan trying to make a move up the inside, but he's not going to get through there. So the South African making the French rider on that green Kawasaki work all the way around the outside. You can see 3 riders queuing up to get through that inside rut. And Gauthier Paulan still down in 13th position at the moment. And he's got to keep a cool head about him here. Oh, and a sneaky little move there at the inside. He pointed it, squirted it, got on the gas. White Avis didn't even see it coming. So Gauthier Paulan now moves up into 12th position. He's got his eyes set on the number 121 Teka Europe Suzuki of Xavier Boug just ahead of him as they head down pit straight. Osborne still leads that gap, 1.6 seconds. So Marvin Musquin now as they head over the line to start their lap. Lap number 8. Oh, and you can see how tricky it is at the end of the, well, going into turn 2. Quite a few riders having moments there. It almost caused carnage going into there at the end. Well, going into turn 2 at the end of the start straight, and riders lucky to stay up on 2 wheels going through there. But here we are again, Xavier Boug. He's there in 11th position, just behind that man, number 56 on the blue Yamaha, Evgeny Bobryshev. Then it's Gauthier Paulan, then White Avis on the red Honda, number 69. Then Manuel Moni, number 13 on the 3C Racing Yamaha. So at the moment, all eyes are really on this battle for...
So what happened to Gauthier Paulan at the start?
I don't know, probably like a bad start, but he come back slowly and I hope he can finish well, you know.
Okay, thank you very much. Best of luck.
Well, I know it's too early to mention at the moment, but if it was to stay like this, Zach Osborne would possibly win the Grand Prix with 45 points, and Marvin Musquin would be second with Gauthier Paulan third, and in the championship, Gauthier Paulan would be tying on points for the lead with Marvin Musquin. Now, we've got to keep an eye on that battle because Musquin is closing down on the lead as we look at Stephen Sword. But Marvin Musquin is closing down on the leader, Zach Osborne, and Gauthier Paulan is coming through traffic. So it's going to be very, very interesting indeed in the second half of this race. But, oh, and here we are. Marvin Musquin coming out of turn 1. Oh, into the inside. He's getting a bit sideways there. Hard on the brakes. Gives Zach Osborne a nudge. The rear and the front wheels touching there. 3:38. Zach Osborne knows he's got a race on now as he goes into his 9th lap. 8 laps on the board for Zach Osborne, that man on screen, and the man behind him, Marvin Musquin, number 27 on the Honda. Third should be Stephen Frossard still, and it is Frossard now over the line. Into that city curve they go. And you see here, Osborne knew he was there, Musquin. And Musquin just tried to give him a bit of a love tap there, nudge a swinging arm and force Osborne wide. But Osborne, it didn't fluster him at all. Over the 25-metre long tabletop. Furthest end of the circuit, almost in the sea. And Osborne just hanging on by the skin of his teeth at the moment on that U-Tag Yamaha. Tries to square it off. And Musquin tried to fire it down the inside. If he was 6 yards or half a yard ahead of him then, the two would definitely have collided. Maybe one of them would have gone down. But that's the difference here. This circuit really challenging the riders. They are having to think all the way through here. Every lap, they've got to think about what line they're using. You can see hard and slick in some places, deep and rutty in others. Lots of soft sand in a few places as well. In the base of these whoops here, very, very soft and sandy indeed. And the riders have to be on their mettle all the way through there, concentrating. Musquin goes round the outside, tries to force it up the inside of Osborne, coming into this corner here, but it's not going to happen. No mistakes from Osborne, just like Sean Simpson at the start of the race. So Marvin Musquin on that red Honda, whipping it, keeping it low, goes to the inside. Is he going to make a move up the inside? The two almost touch as they come out of that right-hander through this left. Mikey Whittick there saying, stay strong to Zach Osborne. But Musquin up the inside. A let off there from the American Osborne on the 338 blue U-Tag Yamaha. It's going to be a drag race coming through this rolling whoop section. We saw it the lap before. Mxgp this time gets his front wheel ahead, does he? He doesn't, but he tries to give a nudge again to Zach Osborne. And Osborne is having absolutely none of it. So these two, both teenagers, really setting this race alight here in the second MX2 moto of the Turkish Grand Prix just outside of Istanbul. The first time the Championship Series has ever been here, remember, in 52 years of FIM World Championship competition. A great move from the FIM and the organisers Youthstream, and also a good deal struck between themselves and the Turkish Motorcycle Federation. I'm sure we'll be back here next year and for many years to come. And the circuit here providing top-class action. And remember, this circuit was only created just 2 weeks ago. And I was talking to Greg Atkins, and he said there's still improvements that can be made. So hopefully those improvements will be met for the next time that we come here, and we will see even more improved racing as well. This time, Osborne goes to the inside through that UFO turn. And Mxgp has to follow him. Tries to square it off, though, coming out of that next turn, around the Fox, banking. And over the big leap there, Mxgp to the inside. Is he going to get on the gas? He's going to brake hard and try and fight down the inside of Osborne. But again, Osborne knows exactly where Marvin Mxgp is. And, well, this is going to be the longest 15 minutes plus 2 laps of Osborne's life for sure. Side by side over the whoops. Osborne has the inside. Left of your screen coming into this next right-hander. Mxgp around the outside. He's surely got it this time around. Big leap down the inside. He'll have the inside rut. And the pass is going to be made there. And Osborne tried to come back, but he couldn't get over that big wall of dirt, the big rut on the inside of him, and that has allowed the number 25, Marvin Mxgp, to take control of this race. He is the new race leader here with just over 14 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Past pit lane, Marvin Mxgp's Honda. Just about to rejoin the circuit and cross the end of the start straight as they head over the Hyundai hill there, around that turn. That's where Frossard went in race 1, and Frossard's closing. This is going to be a 3-way battle for the lead. Osborne
literally just lost the lead, didn't he? Is he going to fight back?
Yeah, Zach's a hardy character, and he'll give it all he can to fight back. He needs to finish at least second to get the overall. If Muskin wins, then Muskin to take the overall. The fastest guy at the moment is Frossard, so we need to watch Frossard coming through. I hope Zach fights back and takes the overall. It'll be good for the team and good for Zach.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Well, Steve Dixon there being interviewed down in pit lane by Lisa. And, well, we said that Frossard's the fastest man on the track. That time around, though, Marvin Mxgp it was, who was just as quick. 2:05's those two. Osborne, 2:07. 2:06 is for Marcus Schiffer, and Stephen Sword, who's now in 5th position. David Guarneri is 6th. Sean Simpson is 7th. Arnold Tonu, 8th. Matisse Carreau, 9th. And as we head into the break, Gautier Paulin, championship leader, down in 10th.
The 2008 ARCA season wrapped up at Toledo, and heading into the final race of the year, it was a 3-driver battle for the title. Join Motors TV this Saturday, April 18th at 9 p.m. to see who won the 2008 ARCA crown.
It's a brave new world in Formula One. Never has the sport transformed so much in such a short period of time. Be sure to tune in for Inside Grand Prix and a preview of the 3rd race of the year, the Grand Prix of China, Monday, April the 13th from 9 p.m. Round 3 of the WRC, the Rally of Portugal, Tuesday, April the 14th from 5:40. Martin Prokop and Aaron Burkhardt will head the list of juniors. Patrick Sandell will have to contend with local ace Armindo Arrojo in the production class.
France's top gentleman drivers head back into action this Friday, April 17th on Motors TV. At 7:45, the Porsches, Corvettes, and other GTs of the Martinet Trophy will open their season with round 1 from Magny-Cours, and it's only on Motors TV. ...2008 World Motocross Freestyle Champion Remy Bizouar will be eager to get his title defense off to a strong start when the Freestyle World Championship heads to Berlin for the season opening night of the jumps this Saturday, April 18th from 11:55.
Just under 11 minutes plus 2 laps to go here, and championship leader number 21 on the Bud Racing Kawasaki, Gauthier Paulin, is really in a battle for that red plate here in the second moto of this MX2 Grand Prix at Istanbul in Turkey. And you can see Sean Simpson, the rider at the head of your shot there, number 4 on the factory Red Bull KTM. He's there in 7th position, a brave ride from the tough Scotsman. Then behind him, number 23, Arnold Tonu on the HDI KTM. And then it's the Kawasaki, the Bud Racing Kawasaki of Gauthier Paulin in 9th, riding number 21 on that green Kawasaki. Just behind them, the MVRD number 91 Suzuki of Mathis Caro, and then 121 Xavier Boug, then Evgeny Bobryshev on the number 56 Van Beers Yamaha. Under the Red Bull bridge they go. Simpson just got a bit of breathing space coming out of that turn there and put himself a bit of distance between himself and that man on the right of your screen in the white on the 23 HDI KTM, Arnold Tonu, the Swiss rider. There's Gauthier Paulin. We've not had to see him work too hard this season in the championship campaign. Picked up a race win, of course, in Faenza, the opening round in that mud-drenched circuit down near Bologna in Italy, but then he had 2 seconds last time out in Bulgaria. So this is not what was written on the tin and what was ordered for the French camp here in this second moto in Turkey. But Paulin having to fight through, just like Marvin Musquin, his closest challenger in the championship at the moment, the number 25 NGS Honda, had to in race 1. Musquin was able to fight back to 5th. At the moment, Gauthier Paulin down in 9th place. It's rides like these, performances like these, that really determine a rider. And you can see Gauthier Paulin, he's spurned on, driven by the fact that he is the red plate holder. He's not cracking under the pressure at the moment, but you saw he got squeezed going into turn 1 between the black Yamaha of Davide Guarneri and the blue Yamaha of Zach Osborne. He had nowhere to go. He got stood up and came out mid-pack, buried. Oh, and a mistake there as he tried to go around the outside of the 23 KTM of Arnold Tonu. Thank God for Gauthier Paulin that he's got long legs, because he was able to correct that mistake. He put a leg down. It was an outside leg, and he was able to not lose too much time. There you see Sean Simpson, number 4 on that Red Bull KTM, just cruising around the inside of those turns, trying to pick as many smooth lines as possible so not to hamper that shoulder injury. Tonus almost getting completely to a stop there in that left-hander. Gauthier Paulin's going to go again. Xavier Boug got the best seat in the house here as far as watching the action ahead of him is concerned. Xavier Boug on that Tekka Europe Suzuki, 121 under the Red Bull bridge. Here's his team.
Fighting for the top 5. Do you think he'll enter it?
I hope so. It's very close. There's some guys who aren't so fast, we're just ahead of him, and I hope we can do it. It's very tight, but I hope we can do it. Looks good so far.
Yeah, good luck.
And while we were there on the break, Gauthier Paulin has found a way past the KTM, the Swiss rider, Arnold Tonu. So Arnold Tonu now in 9th place, Gauthier Paulin up into 8th. So we're witnessing here a fight back for Gauthier Paulin, the French rider, on that Bud Racing Kawasaki. Marvin Musquin still leads his advantage at the head of the field. As Rasmussen looks on there, giving his man Xavier Boug the hurry up. Musquin still leads, 2 seconds the gap between himself and Osborne. Frossard still there in 3rd. Schiffer now 4th. Stephen Sword on the UK Red Bull KTM in 5th. There's Xavier Boug. Boug now in 10th place. And he's trying to follow through the Kawasaki of Gauthier Paulin, who is now all over the back of Sean Simpson as they complete lap 13 here. Simpson, the front rider in your screen, number 4, just going out of shot. Up the inside, number 21 on the green Kawasaki. Gauthier Paulin, can he do it around this next left-hand car? Oh, I tell you what. And Sean Simpson and Gauthier Paulin came together, and Paulin loses a position to Arnold Tonu, or does he? No, he manages to hang on. So Sean Simpson, you can't deny the effort going in from the Scot from St Andrews in Scotland. Bases himself in Belgium now for this campaign. He's factory KTM's rider, number 1 rider for the 2009 championship. And you can see he's just doing whatever he can at the moment to stay ahead of the chasing pack behind him. He has to switch lines there. He was going wide a little earlier on, but he realises how close, and there's a freight train of riders behind him. Simpson being tailed by the 21 of Gauthier Paulin, the 23 of Arnold Tonus on the KTM, and the 121 of Xavier Boug. Then there's Evgeny Bobryshev and Manuel Moni as well. Kunsith Bonsani is not far off the back of that group, the rider who finished second in race 1 on the SRS Honda. Under the Tecker Bridge, Sean Simpson. Oh, and here we go. Osborne having another look up the inside of Muscan, and he pushes the Frenchman aside, and there's a back marker in the way. 153, Marco Maddi on the Delta Rentor Suzuki. So unbeknown to him, the battle for the lead came through, and Zach Osborne used that to his advantage. He's pulled away from Stephen Frossard with 5 minutes and 2 laps to go here, and Zach Osborne now on the UTAG Yamaha finds himself back in front. He's taken the challenge to the number 25 NGS Honda of Marvin Muscan, and as Muscan comes through the city curve, he looks over his shoulder and realises that the 183 CLS Kawasaki of Stephen Frossard is there as well, ready to pounce. But Zach Osborne, you've got to say, just as we thought Marvin Muscan would maybe walk away and take victory here in the second race, and as Frossard was closing down on the young American to maybe snatch second in the closing stages, Osborne has got second wind and has picked up the pace, has found a way to pull away from the 183 Kawasaki of Stephen Frossard, and has now found his way back past the leader, number 25, Marvin Muscan. Just under 4.5 minutes to go. Osborne having to ride defensive through that right-hander. Bounces off the top of that tabletop, doesn't quite get the drive, nor too does that man in third, 183 on the CLS Kawasaki, Stephen Frossard. Number 49 coming into the frame, he's one of the local riders, and that's Hristijan Iliovski on the Turkish licence. I think he's from Macedonia, actually, I'm not sure. I might stand to be... Oh, the front end of Zach Osborne coming through there, just catching the edge of the wall of the rut there, and it looked like Osborne was on his way down, but he managed to save it. That would have been real heart in the mouth stuff there for the young American. 2:08 lap times. NGS hurrying their man on, Marvin Muscan. In the closing stages of this race, here we see Osborne. Let's just see that front wheel. Look at that. That's how close he was to going down, because that front end, that would have washed away. That would have sent Osborne sprawling to the deck. Muscan would have been through, so too Frossard, possibly handing, if it was to stay like that with Muscan winning, that would have possibly handed Muscan the overall Grand Prix. But Zach Osborne, the American, on the UTAG Yamaha, 338 on that blue machine, he lives to fight another lap. 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go. So we've got about 4 laps here in the second of the MX2 races here at the Turkish Grand Prix. And Osborne, well, at the moment, if it was to stay like this, Osborne would win the Grand Prix with 45 points. Gauthier Paulin would be second if he was to stay where he is. He would be on 39, and Muscan would be pipped to third by a point. 38 points he would get. Just goes to Pulitero. Let's go again, and let's try and close down the gap on Zach Osborne. But Osborne, you can see, already starting to disappear at the front of this pack. So this really is a battle now between second and third in the overall Grand Prix, because with Muscan there in second position, Gauthier Paulin down in 7th in the race. He's behind Davide Guarneri, but how far? He's about 10 seconds behind the Italian. So, unless he gets a bit of a lick on old Gauthier Paulin on that Bud Racing Kawasaki, he's going to find himself staying there in 7th position. He will still, though, more importantly for him, be the championship leader going into the 2-week break before the championship resumes in Valkenswaard in Holland in just 2 weeks' time. Marcus Schiffer on the Saarholz KTM. He's having a great ride in 4th position at the moment. Got himself a good start. And if he stays there, where was he? He didn't score points in race 1. So Marcus Schiffer, 21st in race 1. Obviously got caught up. There was carnage at the back of the turn, at the back of the pack going through turn 1 at the start of race 1. and maybe Marcus Schiffer got caught up in that. Rui Goncalves, another one of those riders. Rui Goncalves, DNF race 1, now down in 15th. He had a big crash in qualification yesterday at the end of this straight here. As he took off there, he got flung over the bars and down the track, and he was lucky to pick himself up and walk away. But that didn't help his qualifying position. But Marcus Schiffer, he's there in 4th position. Just a little bit off of this battle here for 2nd between Musquin on the red bike and the green Kawasaki of Stephen Frossard on the CLS Kawasaki. You already see Zach Osborne away and gone at the front of this field. 2:07, all 3 riders at the front lapping together. Musquin 2nd, Frossard 3rd, Schiffer 4th. Sword down there in 5th, having a lonely ride. Guarneri 6th as Frossard goes to sneak a look up the inside, but it's not going to happen. Got his hand off the handlebar there, trying to grab his tear-offs, and that allows Marvin Musquin just to sneak another couple of bike lengths. Osborne leads, Musquin 2nd, Frossard 3rd. The 2-lap board will go out this time around as Zach Osborne picks his way under the Tecker Bridge, over that rhythm section and into that tight right-hander. This is the left-hander where he almost went down about 3 laps ago. And had he have done that, that would have changed the overall victory possibilities of this Grand Prix. Musquin still there in 2nd. 3rd is Frossard. They're all going down pit straight as we speak. 4th is Marcus Schiffer on the Sarles KTM. 5th, Stephen Sword, the 28-year-old, now living in Wiltshire on the Red Bull UK KTM. They're in 5th place, expecting a baby any moment soon, quite literally. It's due just after this Grand Prix, so hopefully he'll get back and find out there is no news, which normally means good news, but maybe before the next Grand Prix, Stephen Sword would have become a dad for the first time. Fingers crossed. Anyway, 5th for Stephen Sword, that man on screen at the moment, former 3-time British champion, former 4th-time finisher in the MX2 World Championship a couple of 3 years ago. Guarneri, that man there, is just behind him in 6th on the Monster Energy Ritchie Racing. He's our onboard camera man on that Yamaha. 7th is Gauthier Paulin. And 8th is Xavier Boug on the Tecker Europe Suzuki. You can see how far now back Xavier Boug is on that Suzuki. He's not even in the same shot as the Italian Guarneri. He's having the best start to his World Championship campaign for a few years. He looked like he was going to achieve something a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but he's had 1 or 2 injuries, 1 or 2 setbacks. But here he is, just sitting there in 3rd place overall in the championship before this race started, as we look at Matisse Caro, number 91, and Rui Goncalves. That is the battle for 13th position. Rui Goncalves, the Portuguese, not really expected to be down there in that position. But he was at a disadvantage before the gate even dropped, having to start on the extreme right-hander and right hand of the start straight, going into that tight left-hander. As Marco Maddi on the 153 Delta Racing Suzuki just finding his way out of the way there. There is Osborne. Less than a lap and a half to go. Musquin starting to apply the pressure. 2:07 lap time last time around for Zach Osborne. 2:06 for Musquin, 2:06 for Frossard. So this is going to be a frantic excuse me, lap from the top 3 riders. Is it going to go all the way down to the flag? 110 goes through. Ata Nurkan, the local Turkish rider, he's having his debut ever Grand Prix here. It's his home race, and he provided our onboard lap yesterday. And well, the young Turk, he's a little bit out of his depth here, but it's an experience that I'm sure he'll remember and cherish for the rest of his life. Osborne, though, just coming round. He's got Musquin behind him through the penultimate corner. They'll take the 1-lap board this time around. And Zach Osborne, if he can keep it on 2 wheels, the UTAG Yamaha rider will pick up his first ever Grand Prix overall victory to add to the race win victory at the GP of Ireland last year at Fairyhouse Racecourse. Musquin looking for his 2nd overall victory in 2 weekends after picking up the Grand Prix victory in Bulgaria just 1 week ago. And Stephen Frossard, well, he's just looking to score some points after DNFing in Moto number 1 last week and this week. He picked up his first race win last weekend in the 2nd moto of the Bulgarian Grand Prix, but he's looking to get on the podium here. He's there at the moment in 3rd, but I'm sure he'd like to be 2nd. through the deep sandy right-hander. Final lap, Frossard all over the back of Musquin now. Through that tight left, so is there still drama here in the final lap here of this second moto? As we've said, at the moment, Gauthier Paulin may still lead the championship by a handful of points, but Osborne will win the Grand Prix if he stays where he is. Gauthier Paulin will be second on 39 and Musquin will be third on 38, so it won't affect the overall. It's just for pride here between the two French riders, the Kawasaki versus the Honda. Frossard versus Musquin, and Musquin coming under pressure now. He's got the Kawasaki rider diving down the inside. Oh, and a heavy landing there from Frossard, but he's still not given up, but he's got to go the long way round. He's not going to get through there. Musquin forces Frossard to the outside, and Musquin looks like now he is going to hold on to take second position here. Just a couple of corners left to go. Through this left-hander along pit straight, Zach Osborne at the moment. Yamaha crew are anxious. And Frossard tries to move up the inside of Musquin. But Musquin now having to ride defensive. We'll come out of this turn here, they'll cross the end of the start straight over this whoop section. Is there something left here from Frossard? He's going to make a bonsai move down the inside. Oh, and he almost catches that hay bale. And Musquin looks over his shoulder. He can still make a move down on the inside of Osborne. But Osborne hangs on here to take victory in moto number 2, and the overall victory as well for UTAG Yamaha, the first of Osborne's career. And it was a tight finish between all three riders in the end. And Osborne celebrates, he salutes the crowd here. And what a day here for Zach Osborne, the first ever Grand Prix to be held in Turkey. We're about 25 miles outside of Istanbul, and Zach Osborne becomes the first ever winner of a motocross World Championship Grand Prix to be held in Turkey. Gauthier Paulin, he's in 7th at the moment. There is David Guarneri just ahead of him on the Monster Energy Ritchie Racing Yamaha in 6th. So the championship lead is safe for another weekend. And Gauthier Paulin still holds on to that red plate. Osborne wins from Musquin. Stephen Frossard 3rd. Marcus Schiffer and Stephen Sword having a lonely race in 4th and 5th. David Guarneri in 6th. Gauthier Paulin 7th, Xavier Boug 8th.
Musquin, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I knew I had to get it for the overall, so I just went for all I had. I knew there wasn't anyone very close to in 4th, so I knew I had a little bit of time to play with, so I just went for it.
Yeah. You did very well. Well done. Congratulations.
Well, the next Grand Prix is on the 25th and 26th at Valkenswaard, the Grand Prix of Holland, or Grand Prix of Benelux. And you see Zach Osborne, that's what it means to him. He picks up his first race win of the season, his second ever race win, and he wins the Grand Prix as well. The next Grand Prix heads to Benelux and Valkenswaard on April 26th, and that's 2 weekends from now. Will Osborne be able to continue that run? Will it be Musquin? Will Gauthier Paulin get better starts? And will he manage to extend that points lead? Who's it going to be? Frossard, will he get on the podium? Will he take his first ever Grand Prix victory? We have all these questions, and we've got 2 weeks in which all those questions get answered. We're heading for a break. We'll join you back here in a couple of minutes.
Australia's Chad Reed and America's James Stewart continue their 2-man title fight when the AMA Supercross Championship heads to the Sunshine State, Florida. Round 13 of the Open and Lights categories Tuesday, April the 14th at 7:20 p.m.
Join Motors TV this Saturday, April 18th from 8:10 for the season opening round of the French Super Series with a full report from the GT Series where Olivier Panis and Sébastien Liac, as well as the news from the numerous support series.
Pilot Stories is a new and unique program on Motors TV. In part 2, we sit down with motor racing celebs Jamie Green, Henri Pescarolo and many more. Pilot Stories Part 3, Wednesday, April the 15th from 9 in the evening.
Join Motors TV this Saturday, April 18th from 8:10 for the season opening round of the French Super Series with a full report from the GT Series where Olivier Panis and Sébastien Loeb will be in action, as well as the news from the numerous support series. The 2008 ARCA season wrapped up at Toledo, and heading into the final race of the year, it was a three-driver battle for the title. Join Motors TV this Saturday, April 18th at 9 p.m. to see who won the 2008 ARCA crown.
Welcome back here. You see the championship standings, 108 for Paolan, Muscan second, 103, so that gap back down to 5 points. Guarneri now in third place. So what was a 13-point gap going into race 2 has now been closed right back down. So it's game on going into Holland. I don't think the French riders have got any races in between now and the next Grand Prix, the Grand Prix of Benelux, on the 26th of April at Valkenswaard. So you can bet your bottom dollar that those guys will be hounding out the laps around Lommel and Eersel in Holland and Belgium over the next couple of weeks. That'll be fun to watch. Maybe they'll even turn up on the same racetracks on the same days for a bit of practice and a bit of testing. But the championship, although it's in its early stages, if they get through that one and come out with a bag full of points, then it's definitely looking like it could go to one of the two French riders come the season end. Kawasaki 117 lead, Honda, Yamaha third, KTM and Suzuki fighting over fourth and fifth. Wow, what a great race that was. The second MX2 race to conclude the Turkish Grand Prix here as the dignitaries and the trophy girls get up onto the podium to greet our top three, and in third position it's the NGS Honda rider of Marvin Muscan. On the podium 3 times in 3 Grand Prix. He was third at Faenza, he was victorious last weekend in Bulgaria, and he's third again this weekend in Turkey. Gauthier Paolan. Wow, look what it means to him. He still may lead the championship, but he had a nice cushion. 13 points, as I've said, that back down to just 5. Second overall is no consolation for him. Zach Osborne, though, on the UTAG Yamaha. He mounts the podium for the first time in his young professional career. And Steve Dixon, the team manager. You can see what it means to him. Well, we joked with the CCM boss during the MX2 first race that Dixon might have to put his hands in his pockets to fork out a bit of bonus. Senator Giovanni Tori from the Italian Parliament presents the... Oh, he almost drops it. Third place trophy to Marvin Muscan. And second place trophy, Farouk Berksan from the president of the Hezafan circuit here. Goes to Gauthier Paolan. Well, he could maybe try and muster a smile for the cameras. 2 more French riders on the podium in as many weekends. It was a whitewash last weekend, remember. The first 4 places all being covered by French riders. Zach Osborne going to get his trophy from Bakir Yunus Ucha, the CEO. And that looks like a big, heavy trophy for the young American. Steve Dixon will equally get one. Hamit Abazoglu, Vice President of the Turkish Moto Cycling Federation. Now the national anthems. Oh, red plate first. Dr. Wolfgang Schrupp, President of the FIM and the CMS, handing that to Gauthier Paolan. But he's held that now for 3 GPs. So Zach Osborne wins the Grand Prix of Turkey. Gauthier Paolan second and Marvin Muscan third.
kazanan marka Honda için Japon milli marşı. Ve şimdi de adet üzere kazananlar,
So Osborne,
kazananlar şampanya patlatacaklar.
Gauthier Paulin and Marvin Muscan are the three riders who stand on the top steps of the podium this weekend, the first ever Grand Prix to be held in Turkey. And they give the girls a nice good soaking. And in a moment we'll go down and hear what they have to say.
MX1'de mücadele sonra başlayacak ve MX1 yarışından sonra günün birincisi MX1'in galibi ve ikincisi.
Just trying to work out in my head the last time an American won a Grand Prix in Europe. And what I say, it escapes me at the moment. Possibly Jeff Dement, riding for the SRS Honda team in the back end of the 90s. But here's a replay. Zach Osborne got off to a flying start. Unfortunately for Championship leader Gauthier Paulin, he got squeezed and stood up going into that turn by Osborne and the number 39 Monster Energy Ritchie Racing Yamaha of Davide Guarneri. Out of turn one though, it was Osborne from Sean Simpson. And Stephen Sword also had a good start as well on the UK Red Bull KTM. But then the Red Bull factory KTM of Sean Simpson made this mistake, and the NGS Honda of Marvin Muscan closed up on the inside of the Scot and demoted him. Trossard was on the charge on the CLS Kawasaki, first moving aside the 27 of Marcus Schiffer, and then the number 4 of Sean Simpson. He was in third and closing down on Marvin Muscan. Muscan, meanwhile, he was closing back down on the leader, number 338, Zach Osborne, and it looked like it was all over, but there was more to come. Paulin was charging through the pack and was trying to do all he could to close down that gap and narrow the points disadvantage between himself and championship leader Gauthier Paulin. It was frantic stuff right the way to the final turn, but it was Osborne who hung on from Marvin Muscan and Stephen Trossard in third. Gauthier Paulin, well, all he could manage was 7th position. But he came from a long way back. It was well outside the top 20. And 7th place means he still leads the championship. Here's Zach.
Zach, your first GPs this year were less successful. Now you've won your first ever GP here in Istanbul. Does that give you hope for the rest of the season?
Yeah, it feels good to win here in Turkey on Easter Sunday. You know, I just want to thank the Lord for keeping me safe out there. And, you know, I've moved up to 5th in the standings now, so I just keep charging and trying to do good, put my bike up front, and hopefully it'll keep going well.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Well, it probably won't really sink in until much later on today, or maybe even tomorrow, maybe even during the week. But one thing's for sure, first ever Grand Prix victory, you can't take that away from him. He now will go into the record books as being a Grand Prix winner.
Okay, another podium. Is this the way to keep the red plate like you wanted to?
Yeah, for sure. I do a nice first race, just the second moto. I take a really bad start, so it was difficult to come back. But I do a good race. I keep the red plate, and then we have to see in the Valkenswaard in the stand. It's another track. It's really different the stand, so we have to train out for Valkenswaard.
Apologies for the rattling around in the background. Charles Smith, the 5-time world champion, who's going to be doing a commentary for Belgian TV in the second MX1 race, just joins me here. Well, we'll wait for the interview of Marvin Muscan first before we get our views from you. But great race, more of that in a second. Here's Marvin and Lisa, hopefully, any moment now. It'll be interesting to see what the Frenchman has to say.
Surely you wanted the podium so bad to actually recover from a difficult qualifying race like yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was so bad for me, and I'm 20 on the start on the gate 20, and so the start is very hard, and in first race I did a bad start and a really good comeback on the 5th place. And for the second race, I did a really good start and really good race, and I finished second, and very good for the team and for me, and very good for the championship. I'm second. I'm very, very happy, and I would like to thank everybody, my team, my mechanics, and my girlfriend, Annika Vela, and my friends who watch the TV. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done.
Well, Joel Smets joins me here just briefly before we go to the commercial break. Joel, what do you think of that second MX2 race?
Oh, it was just so exciting. I walked the whole track, Paul, and to watch them see out there is still different from watching it on television. And yeah, when Muscan went to the lead, I thought really the race was over and he was going to pull away. But Zach Osborne is not that type of rider that gives up that easy, and he fought back really, really hard. And I can tell you, even maybe they didn't show everything on television, but it was really, really close racing, and not just in the top 3, but